Yes, now, bless now, people. Let's not forget the rest now. It's King of the Pit TV. We just listened to Warbringer with their album Wrath and Ruin. It was recommended on the Patreon by my good friend Extreme Aggression. And geez Louise, we listened to Warbringer on this channel a bit back. I think it was a recommendation from Extreme Aggression as well. Correct me if I'm wrong, it might have been from someone else. You know, I get a load of recommendations, but I think it must have been, generally speaking, because it's quite a unique metal band. As far as their market is concerned, it seems like this band hasn't really been taken up by the mainstream of metal as of yet. Maybe that's just a modern thrash thing, to be honest with you, because it feels like in thrash metal, it's just an old head dominated field. You know, people still want the festival headlining acts, and all these bands just stem from the 80s. I think thrash is an old head genre at this moment in time, because the new bands are always in the shadow of the bands that have just been doing it for decades upon decades, which I guess is the right way about it, you know? And there's a broad market. You can be young and old and be into thrash, which is great, you know? Because I, sort of anchor my perspective on like hardcore punk music and stuff like that, where it's just like whatever's cool for the year is cool for the year, and the old heads, they get so much attention, but they become quite uncool in relation to the new kids on the block within years. So I guess that's just my own anchored judgment based upon what I'm sort of keep my eyes to. But with that being said, 8 tracks. We listened to Warbringer in the past. I think the other record had more or less 8 tracks on it. It was called like Troops of Tomorrow or Weapons of Tomorrow or something like that. I was quite critical of the last record because I felt like they were a bit confused about their sound. One song was metal, one song was death metal, one song was black metal, and it's like, what am I actually listening to here? But they reeled that in on this record. Yeah, a couple of influences left, right and centre, a couple of death metal influences, a couple of black metal influences. But overall, it was a thrash metal record. It was a very modern sounding thrash metal record. And they really, really, really did it well. They did it well. They found their sound on this record in relation to the other one I listened to. And this was one of the most exciting metal bits I've heard on this channel for a while. I'm not going to lie to you. 8 tracks is the perfect amount of music on an album if you want to have a historic album. And we're averaging at about, call it 5 minutes per song on this record. So it's a substantial yet not outlasting amount of material. It's the right amount of content. The riffs were phenomenal. Good mix of thrash in your face. We can play fast and tight thrash metal. Intricate single line picking. Your heavy metal laden thrash elements. And you got a few moments to enjoy the chug, which is my personal favourite, The drumming was great. The vocal line was coherent. You can hear the lyrical content. And I'm not a lyrical guy, but the front man of this band, I want to give him props. If anyone could get the message to the front man and say some fucking nobody, well, I'm not a nobody. Let's be real. I shouldn't put myself down in relation to the notoriety of this band, even though I was criticising as far as this band's tier, because I think they should be more established given the quality of the record. They should have more of a reception on their music and more views on their music. But in comparison, what does my opinion mean? They've got a few more opinions that probably hold more weight, but I would like somebody to definitely get the message across that Des from King of the Pit TV says that lyrical content is better than 90%, or at least more relatable to some people than 90% of the music I listen to. And I listen to music all day and all night on this channel, don't I? I love the tinfoil hat head, skeptical, geopolitical ramblings that we've got on this record. It applies to my perspective, and I feel seen for the first time in a long while. And when I say tinfoil hat head, I just mean how the general perceptive of the society we reside within have been conditioned into perceiving people like us. I know that this person goes on their day-to-day observing, and you can hear that in the lyrical content, you know, having an alternate approach to stuff. And that's why I'm into alternate music, because I should hope that I can find like-minded individuals who are into alternate means of being, which is surprisingly still rare, even in metal and punk music. So I do like that. I do like that. The guitar solos were okay. You know, I'm not a guitar solo head, but rhythmically speaking, the album's really good, and the bass is prominent. You know, you can hear the high end of that bass just rambling on, you know, like a tank in the background. I always associate it with like Anthrax's bass tone. I don't know what is in particular. Is it the trebles or is it like a high mid? I don't know, but you can hear it just popping above them riffs. Production, really good. I'll rate this record an 8 out of 10. I don't know what can be improved to make it an 8.5. I don't know what could be improved. And you might say, well, if it can't be improved, why are you giving it that? Well, because I'm harsh, all right? There's been no more than... no one's got a 10 on this channel. Nobody ever will get a 10, let's be fair. The moment I give someone a 10, I'm probably high as a kite. Let's be real. But yeah, great record, great recommendation. One of the better albums I've heard on this channel in a while, or at least one of the better albums I've heard on this channel in a while. Very good, very good. We're bringing it back to King of the Pit TV with this one. Peace.